Hello, Angel. How
Welcome
are
back.
you?
Good, good. Excited to be
What are
here.
we talking about today?
Today, we're talking about something I struggle about for so many years, and it's still like something itchy for me sometimes. Patience. Slow down, little Padawan. Patience, patience. We're in this culture that is all about speed,
Yeah.
right? So it's immediate. It doesn't matter if it's about ordering your food online or something on Amazon. If it's about learning something, the quickest course possible. You used to take 30 years to learn yoga. Now you can do a yoga teacher training in 4 weeks. Uh, about the speed of our car, about the speed of the internet, about everything has to be faster. I was seeing a documentary yesterday that it used to take 13 months for people to go from East Coast to West Coast with horses. And now, we can do that in 6 hours, right? So, and we're trying to see if we can do it faster, right? Faster plane, things like that. The indigenous ways are slow because nature is patient. Time, time is a whole different scale when we're talking about the wheel of time in cosmologies. There are greater cycle. And I see patience very much as knowing there is something that's moving the wheel of time that is not really in our control. I think in our desire to constantly get things done very quickly, one Buddhist teacher told me it's our fear of death, that we know we're going to die and somehow we have this, constant anxiety to make things happen. But there is also the lack of belief that there is something else that is moving my life, that is making things happen. And, as me, you're a farmer and you grow your food and you're in connection to the land. And yeah, there are things that takes time, right? I planted walnut tree, I think 4 or 5 years ago. It's going to take 20 more years before I see the first walnut. And there's nothing I can do about it. I'm sure some scientists are trying to figure that out and change that. But let's say I'm not trying to change anything. But it's not about that goal of having walnut for me. It's having a walnut tree on that land one day. It doesn't matter if it's for me, for my children, or for someone else one day, right? So patience also invites reconnection for me. There's something that I acknowledge that there's something else that is at play. It's not about me. I don't have full control. And I kind of come down from my pedestal, from my throne as the God creator of all my life, that there are other forces involved and they have their own speed, their own season, their own timing.
There's always this, I think it's in sales, they talk about, speed and excitement. Like excitement should be at the speed that you want, right? To get you excited, to get you moving, to get you motivated, to get you to buy things, to get you to do things, right? And there's also this idea of immediacy, right? And you're talking about time, and I want to add culture to it.
Mm.
We're seeing it around the world. When people travel, Americans travel to different countries, they expect to be able to be treated in the same culture, which part of that is immediacy. I want this now, right? This is mine. I'm standing here. I bought that ticket. I want this now. I want this service now to this degree. And so for me, patience is also, when you're impatient, you are not allowing possibility because you've already come to the conclusion of the experience that you want to have. And that means there's no connection. That means there's no allowing for something else, that spark that everyone wants in your
Yeah.
life. The je ne sais quoi, right? Well, if you plan and you expect and you'd have no patience, then you're not allowing for that. You're just really setting yourself up to be constantly not enough. and for things to be not enough. And that just, again, is a different kind of discipline, right?
Yeah, this impatience, in many ways, I see it because it's very cultural, right? It's something that, we have to go faster. And if we, are stuck in traffic, even for 3 minutes, we get very impatient somehow. Um, the plane just landed, everybody's up, right? The flight was 6 hours, but we want to be 1 minute less in the plane. It's kind of ridiculous when you think with realistically about what is really happening. But there's
Mhm.
something quite violent too in that
Yeah.
impatience. There's
Mm.
something that is forcing us to go at speed that are inhuman. And when
Yep.
it comes to the healing process, we can be very impatient. And that's, again, I think that's a little bit of the complex that somehow we're the one healing ourselves, that the body, doesn't have its own wisdom, that there is not many of the things that have their own pace in them. Grieving process is a good example. It can
Yeah.
take months, it can take years, it can take a lifetime, and it requires some time to really surrender more to that process. And very often healing is stuck because we're impatient. We're too tight around the goal, around what we want to
Mhm.
happen, and we have no presence with what is because we already want to be, at tomorrow or to a different kind of experience. So one day I really realized that me being impatient with myself was a very colonial, violent act towards myself.
Yep.
My mind was very violent towards my body because you can't rest, right? You have to do this, you have to do that. And we learned that. I learned that. It's not like I
Mhm.
was born that way. I was learned that, there was those schedules and things to be done and etc. etc. So the returning to patience, this slowing down, not only is more kind and more loving, but is also way more aligned with the cycle of nature, the cycle of spirit, the cycle of the earth, which is really what we're trying to do here. Is how do we
Yeah.
reconnect, remember who we are, and tune ourselves back into the cycle of nature, which takes time.
Yeah.
Um, Most people, when I say, well, just take a day off, don't do anything, don't think about your healing, just go for a walk, do nothing. And people are like, okay, I did it. So what do I do next?
What's
Right.
the next step,
Right.
Angel?
Yeah, because even in our resting sometime or in our
Mhm.
slowing down, we can be impatient because, okay, I'm going to rest for 1 hour and I put my timer.
Yep.
We're not really listening to the body.
Yep.
It's just like, once again, telling the body what to do. There is a certain time you can rest, there's one you can't. And don't worry, we're going to get back to work. So there's always that constant stress on our
Yeah.
lives. And that
Yeah.
disconnects us from our essence, which is what we are all seeking to reconnect to.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, last words here, it's when many times Western society is working from a solution oriented way of being and getting to that solution and becoming impatient when you don't achieve that solution in a violent way, as you said. But what we forget is that when you are present and not thinking of the future, there's actually more possibilities
Mhm.
because your awareness expands. Instead of single handedly or single mindedly shooting for one potential future and not allowing any possibility, right? It means then that is part of impatience. It doesn't allow co creation. And we are here to co create. And so, as I say, to go fast, you have to move very slow,
Mm.
very slow. Take the time to be aware of everything. And then you can move through space and time faster because you're not trying to combat everything, tackle everything down. You're allowing it to walk with you. And so you're riding that wave of possibility and patience.
Yeah, I think it's Bio Akumulafe, dear brother, who said, the time are urgent, we need to slow down. And that, for me, says everything we need to know. All the troubles we have in our world is because of impatience, is because of that speed. And maybe if you try something else, you will see that a different kind of wisdom, embodied wisdom, something that is much more somatic, that is aligned with the land, will arise.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.